Obviously, Jurgen, yesterday we found out that Steven Gerrard was going to be leaving Aston Villa. Can I get your reaction to that news? And obviously, is there any kind of advice that you can give to someone like Steven to kind of come back from a disappointment like that? Because I presume that you would see that he is someone who will come back from a disappointment.
I'm very sure that we'll come back from that. I know 7 years in Liverpool, so even with not meeting all the time, very often because of, for different reasons, it was America. Then when he was in the academy, we obviously could create a bit of a close relationship, and I always followed him, obviously, and so we had a little exchange this morning, but nothing too deep or nothing, not a long conversation. And no, I can imagine that it's disappointing for him because with the ambitions he had and the things he wanted to achieve with Aston Villa, and that's obviously not cool. But I don't think we have to worry now about Stevie, and how he said himself yesterday after the game. He knows the game long enough, and as these kind of things can happen. And how always in life, it's all about, we all get knocks here and there. It's all about how we respond. And you all know Steve still better than I do, and he always came back, and he will come back from that, no doubt about that. That things like this can happen. A lot of great managers out there had to leave their previous clubs for different reasons. Some of the best did that quite frequently during their career, and then showed up somewhere else and learned from it, found a better situation, whatever. And yeah, he will be back 100%. And but now I hope actually that he takes a bit of time as well for him, because since he finished his career, he's pretty much working all the time, if I'm right. So maybe use it now a little bit for himself to recharge.
You said last time I saw him that he's not played golf for years now, so he might be able to relax like that.
I know where I live, so that's really strange, because the neighborhood is the golf course.
It's a nice course as well.
I've never been there, I just know there is one, so yeah.
What decision have you made regarding the FA charge that you're facing, and will you be on the touchline tomorrow?
I cannot make any decisions in that
You
case.
can decide whether to accept the charge or contest it, ask for a personal hearing.
Oh, we just follow the process, the complete normal processes. So, in this moment, I expect being on the bench tomorrow, yes, but I don't know 100%. But I think it's a normal process. We are not now too used to it, but we have enough people who know how it goes, and we did everything we had to do.
Naby back in training. Is Saturday too soon for
Yes.
him? But how important a point is this in his career as well? Because he's obviously been frustrated at the injuries, how they've hampered his time here at Liverpool. He's out of contract in the summer as well. So I'd imagine for a player like Naby, there's big motivation, get as much game time as possible, everything else will take care of itself. But that could be good for you as well, if you've got, again, a highly motivated player like that.
Yeah, of course. So, but we can't rush it anyway. So it was a tough injury, and a serious injury, and he's now back. It was the only part of in training which he was part of. From Monday on, Naby and Ibu will be, if everything goes like planned, will be involved in full team training. So that means then from there we count days or whatever. So, but his pre-season, if you want, football pre-season starts then more or less. Was really out for a while, like Ox was. So Ox was on the bench. I don't think ready to play, but in our last game, but he gets closer. So he's this 1 or 2 weeks ahead of Naby, which is very helpful for us as well. But yeah, the situation Naby is clear. But again, whatever happens in the summer, nobody knows in this moment. But it's now about making him as fit as possible, that he can sustain the awful lot of games coming up. So there are a lot of football games to play, and can't wait to have him back properly.
No other new injuries or any other comebacks?
No injuries or comebacks, no. Interesting. No injuries, but 2 tough games in short succession, and now a next one coming up. So we need to have a closer look who we can start again, or who we can start, and so. But it's really close. We have only this session this afternoon. Yesterday was recovery for the boys who played the other night, and today will be now the only session we have. So I will get all further information a bit later today before training, and then we'll see.
We saw Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup last time when you played them. How do you view them this season in terms of, obviously you had to make a lot of changes in the summer. How do you view how Nottingham Forest can play?
Oh, it's a lot of things are clear. The atmosphere will be outstanding. I'm 100% sure. So and that's what I think I like that as an experience to have it as well, because it's one thing you talk about because everybody tells you, and one thing to experience yourself. Or it's another thing. But of course, when we faced them last time, they were full of confidence. They were really flying, and we felt that it was a well trained team, which they still are. But that in that moment, everything, all the pieces fell in place pretty much. So that's different this season, but that makes it even more difficult because now the spirit will be at 100%. They will fight for everything. They want to change their situation, and that's what we have to expect. Yes, it's lineup-wise. Cook was there. I'm not sure if he played that night, but Johnson played definitely. Yates played. If I'm right. So some others, all different, a lot of different players now on the pitch, but that's clear. We had all the images, all the pictures. We could see who he will probably line up. Has a lot of options as well, especially up front. Can play different players up front. So, but in the end, it's a football game, and we have to make sure that we can bring through our stuff.
Thank you. Juliet?
Yeah, I think just on Naby, when you said it's like the pre-season for him starting now, so when could we expect to actually see him back in full flow? You're talking after the World Cup?
Look, we have to. No, before. But it's not a pre-season like 5-6 weeks. The thing is, what we can do in rehab with these tough muscle injuries is that they do everything apart from team training. So you cannot replace team training. They do football work, they run more than we do in training sessions because they have to, these kind of things. But then you can, with nothing in rehab, you can replace a football session. If it's a small-sided game or whatever, it's a complete different intensity to everything you can produce in a rehab. So, and that's why I say now the football part of the preseason starts for him physically. He could probably run our marathon when he starts on Monday, but that's not helpful because he needs to do other movements, and that's why. As long as we can give the boys time to recover fully and get as fit as possible, we always try to do that. The problem is when you start with injuries in the season, then the boys who come back very often have to play too early because there are no other options. In this case, I hope now that we can do that we can give him time and until he can play. But maybe next week I tell you Naby Keita starts. I don't know. We will see.
Mike Hughes?
Yeah, again. Curtis Jones managed 30 minutes plus of game time on Wednesday. How much of a positive is it for you to have him available again? Because he's had an horrendous last 12 months or so because of injury problems and so many different injuries as well that have kind of stalled his progress.
Yeah, well, you cannot stall or stop Curtis' progress, but yes, it was a tough one. Freak injuries, actually. Finger in the eye, and stuff like this were crazy. And this now was nobody knew where it was coming from. It came out of the blue, stress reaction and these kind of things. But with young players, these kind of things happen. We are growing, and Curtis obviously at least grew still then, and so. But it's perfect to have him back. He's an exceptional player, exceptional talent. In whichever system we play, he can play different positions, which is very helpful. So it was for him very important to get the game time. But then you can see again what I said. You cannot replace football training. So it's like, where do we go? Where do I have to go in a game? They didn't play for U21s. We just brought him in again after a long time without regular playing, and you could see there's still space for improvement, but that's normal. But it's perfect having him back, and hopefully from now on having him back will be very, very helpful for us.
Given the intensity of the schedule now because of this very strange and awkward Premier League season, is squad rotation even more than the name of the game than it would be ordinarily? And you made 5 changes from the team against Manchester City, also 5 substitutions and 3 substitutions at the 57-minute mark. Does that sometimes come with a risk of altering the balance and rhythm of the team?
Yeah, the changes have to be. I'm not sure we can do that now every week. The changes in the game came because of the things what happened in half time. So the informations you get, and that's in addition, because you have to make sure that, especially against West Ham, but not only West Ham, that you have a specific size on the pitch. So because there will be set pieces, and you cannot play with 6 players who are 170 or something like that. Doesn't work. Then you concede definitely. So you have to mix it a little bit. But yeah, we, as long as we can, we will make changes, and as long as we can, we will make changes during the game as well, and sometimes early. In this game, it broke the rhythm slightly. Definitely, we know that, but it was just not. It was not possible the other way. Then you have just to fight through, and that's how it always was and how it always will be.
Any more before we move on to the breakout?
Just to check, Darwin, you said after the game that he had a slight muscle issue.
Yeah, he's one of these we have to check now. So it's not he had treatment yesterday, and we will see what I got told. We'll get told later.
You got Carl waving at the back.
God.
You a couple of weeks ago you spoke about formations and how intensity and the performance is more important than the formation you played. But this recent run of results has come on the back of 4-4-2 effectively. I just wondered what 4-4-2 is offering you at the moment that is helping you with these performances.
Stability, closing gaps we left open in the weeks before. Not on purpose, it just happened. We played for quite a time, a specific system, a specific way. And when you get used to things, you lose a little bit the desire for the detail. And because it was so well tuned, let me say like this, how we defended, or how we pressed, or how we did different things. Little things can change a lot, and that's why we had to change a big thing, and to start thinking new about it as a group, and not telling him if you do differently, you do differently, because it's always a row of different things what happens then, and that's why we had to do it slightly different. It's actually not a big difference. It's a change of responsibility slightly. It gave us so far more stability in different moments. We always play like this. In the last game now, to get stability again, we changed to a 4-5-1 in the last few minutes. So that's possible still. It all depends to who is available, who is fit, who can. When we started the 4-4-2, we had two more strikers available. Feels like long ago, but it's only like 10 days ago that we had 2 more, and so we have to stay open for all different possibilities what we can do, and we will, and then we make decisions about that. So it's about what is best for us and what is the worst for the opponent. That's pretty much how you try to set up, and that's what we always did and will do.
Well done. No. Right, everything from this point embargoed until 10:30.